Hello Libra, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we're going to look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of this connection and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, the whole reading can be reversed if that is the case for you, especially if you're a cross watcher. Just know that's totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Libra, let's jump on in. Let's start. We're going to look at overall energy for the reading with oracle cards, and then we're going to dive deeper into the story with tarot as the reading progresses. So let's start, Libra, with your side of this connection. Libra's side of the connection to the person they are dealing with. Commitment. So this is something that you're, I feel, desiring or were desiring from this connection. Also something that I feel like you very much give. And I feel like you felt you were lacking. Yeah, because then you have options are kept open. So you felt like an option in this connection. I feel like you felt like you weren't being prioritized, like you weren't being chosen, like you weren't being committed to in the way that you desired. And, you know, commitment can mean so many different things. It doesn't just mean like having a title on a relationship or having a ring or being in a marriage. Like being committed to a person and being committed to a relationship, you know, is very different than just a title or a label. It's an action. It's showing up. It's making somebody feel you know, chosen, seen, heard, loved, valued, all of the things that are required for a healthy relationship. And I feel like this is something that you felt you were or have been very much lacking in this connection. And I think that it's important to know that you're never asking for too much when you're asking for those things. Because sometimes I do feel like we deal with people who can make us feel like that might be too much or we're a burden because we desire these things, and that's not true at all. This person's energy toward you, Libra. Whoa, allow for time and space. Karmic. Okay. I want one more. There are other priorities. Okay. So this is obviously showing that this person is prioritizing, especially with this karmic card, things that aren't really all that good for them. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean other people. Sure, it could. But it can mean, you know, friendships that aren't serving them or habits that aren't serving them or addictions, you know, things of that nature that I feel like they're prioritizing over not just this connection, but like anything that's good for them, really. That's kind of what karmic situations are like, is it's, you know, the over prioritization of something that isn't good for you, which kind of blocks you from the things that are good for you. Now, this allow for time and space card, I feel like this person has a tendency to, it's like they do things to upset you or to make you angry or whatever the case is, and then they withdraw or they like retract their energy, and then it kind of feels like maybe they come back around, they're like, do you remember those things that I did? Like, are we good? And it just feels like there's definitely this energy of kind of like it being very wishy-washy, very in and out, repetitive behavior, things of that nature. But the thing that concerns me about this is the karmic with there are other priorities here, because it definitely feels like there are things that this person is doing that aren't just not good for you and for the connection, but really aren't good for them either, which, you know, I think is difficult and complicated within itself when you care about somebody. It's like you want them to make good decisions or healthy decisions, not just for you, but for them too. All right, truth of this connection between Libra and this person. You know, getting too caught up in a job or in material endeavors, or again, like addiction is huge. Just things that are, you know, bringing down their vibration, bringing down their energy, keeping them trapped. Truth of the connection between Libra and this person. Whoa. Unlocked potentials. There are regrets with you didn't mean it, and I was disillusioned. I feel like both people have regrets when it comes to this connection. I think that's natural and that's normal. You know, one thing that I've really learned, and the reason that I like to do these readings like I do, is there's never just one side of the story, right? Like, you know, just because people have two different experiences and feel a different way about a situation doesn't invalidate the other person's experience. And I think that's where a lot of people lack the ability to kind of put themselves in somebody else's shoes to see where they're coming from. So I think that, you know, having that self-awareness is really important. But in addition to that, got a little sidetracked there. In addition to that, with this unlocked potentials card, I do feel like this connection has a lot of potential. And I feel like, you know, the potential of a connection is going to be, or the ability to reach the potential of a connection is going to be directly dependent on whether two individuals reach their own individual potential. Because it's like, if a connection has potential, it's going to be the potential of two separate people, right? So if you have one person who's like healing and growing and learning and evolving and like doing the work, you know, they're trying to reach that potential, not just for them, but for the connection. But then you have one person who's not doing the work. It's hard, because then you see that potential, you know, you see all the things that could be, you're working for it, you know, you're doing the things that you can to get there. But then you're dealing with someone who's, you know, kind of dealing with more low vibrational things, karmic things of that nature. And that can be really hard, because then we start to wonder, like, especially if we see really, you know, great potential in a connection or a person, we start to believe that, like, if that person doesn't reach their potential, that we're never going to be able to have the potential that we see in that connection, even if it's, you know, not just in the connection, but with someone else. And I think that that can keep us trapped for a really long time. You know, I see this a lot with the concept of twin flames, and people kind of seeing that, like, you know, there's this idea that, like, if you grow, if you heal, you evolve, that means that the person that you're dealing with is going to too. But a twin flame journey is a separate individual journey. Somebody can definitely be a catalyst for that, and it can definitely, you know, they can definitely play a huge role in that journey, but it's not both people's journeys. It's one individual journey being reflected in another person. And I feel like that's where you kind of have to separate, like, what your journey is versus from what the other person's, you know, journey is, to be able to ultimately reach your own potential, to be able to receive the love that you do deserve and desire. So with that being said, I feel like there are some complicated things to break down here, not just about the connection, but about the energies that are at play within it. Because I know how hard it is when you see someone's, you know, potential, and you're so committed to reaching that, you know, doing what you can, doing your part to get there, to make it happen, you know, to love somebody else and be there for them and cherish them and care for them, and then just feeling like you're not getting that in return, like, that can really suck. And I think that that can keep people trapped in this belief that they can't have the love that they deserve and desire unless somebody else gets their shit together. But, you know, our journeys here are not about other people. It really is about what we can do to open ourselves up to what's best for us. Just as much as trying to help somebody else do that for themselves. But anyway, okay, overall theme of this reading for Libra. Quality time. That card didn't turn all the way around or hit the table. And I like when the cards do that because it feels more intentional. So let's see here. For our theme of this reading, for Libra, deja vu. Okay. So it feels like you kind of find yourself back in the same place with this person. It's like you feel like you're making progress. You feel like things are headed in the right direction. And then something happens, they do something, and you just kind of feel like you're right back at the beginning. And I think that that cycle that is showing up here is something that definitely needs to be addressed. Now, this quality time card, it feels like the more time you start to spend together, it's like the closer that you get, the deeper that the connection starts to get, then you kind of hit this wall that puts you back in the beginning. So it's like you make progress, things are good, you're moving in the right direction, you spend more time together, things are getting deeper, and then it's like, bam, right back to the beginning, and you're like, thought we had it, or I thought that things were changing, or I thought that things were getting better. And I think that has really left you feeling a little bit powerless in this connection because, again, you're very committed. You're trying to do what you can to open your heart and your mind to what's best for you. But then, like, this person comes around and you're like, okay, well, maybe it's them. Let's give this a go. Let's see. They say that things are going to be different or their energy is different or whatever the case is. Then it's like right back to the beginning, which is really, really frustrating for sure. So let's break this down even more. Libra, you have commitment with options are kept open. This is Libra's side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. It's the Four of Wands in reverse, which has a lot of meaning, so I want more context before I start trying to talk about them. Okay, then you have the Two of Wands and the Ten of Wands. So a lot of Wands energy in an air sign reading. Then you have a Fool. Wanting a new beginning, wanting to get to a certain place, wanting things to progress, which we already knew and saw. So what exactly does Libra need to know about this energy? The Knight of Wands, the Justice in reverse. It's like the more that you give, the less they do. Okay. So I feel like this is a difficult energy because it's like there's this energy of being really torn. It's like that like you're trying to do what's best for you. I really feel like you are. I feel like you're trying to set your boundaries, make decisions that align with your highest good. But then at the same time, I feel like this connection is always in the background. And I feel like a big part of that is because of that potential that you do see and the hope that exists within seeing that potential. And it's like you've been carrying this burden of feeling like if this connection doesn't work out, that you're not going to be able to experience the love that you ultimately do deserve and desire. And I get that feeling. I've experienced that feeling before. And I know what it's like to believe that things can never get to where you want them to be, but sometimes that perpetuates a cycle of keeping you in the same spot. And I feel like that's one of the hardest things about what you're dealing with in this connection is I feel like you've really put like your heart, your mind, your soul into it. Like you've been willing to kind of just like lay it all out on the line for this person and for this connection. And then with this Justice in reverse, it just feels like no matter what, you never ever receive what you deserve in return. And that of course is going to start to affect the way that you view yourself and what's possible for you. So with this Ten of Wands, I feel like this is something that has really been kind of like weighing you down and burdening you because I do feel like even if this connection is in separation, even if it's a past connection, like this is it feels like you're still kind of committed to it in a way. Or like if this person were to come back around, you'd be like, yes, okay, like let's try again, or like something of that nature. I'm not saying that's exactly it. Maybe for some of you, you're like, no, I don't want to go down that road again. But I do very much feel like there's still a very strong attachment to this person and to this connection. And I feel like that does really stem from that potential that you do see. I feel like this person has a tendency to really rip the rug out from underneath you. And I feel like they've done it more than once, almost like surprise you, but not so much in a good way. It's like they have this tendency to kind of show up and to be what you were looking for, or to, show you progress in some way, but then like turn around and kind of do the same things. It's like they always come back to the same patterns, the same behaviors. And again, you always seem to end up in the right back in the beginning in this connection. And I do feel like it's hard because you're really wanting a new beginning when it comes to love. But I feel like there's this belief that it has to be with this person, or like even if you don't want to have that belief, there's just definitely a draw here to this and to what you do desire here. And I think that has kept you from actually being able to receive what it is that you deserve when it comes to relationships, like whether it's with this person or not. So this is definitely complicated. And I feel like it's complicated not just energy-wise, but probably just like it's hard on your heart, right? To kind of experience that whiplash of somebody showing up and, being what you want them to be, or saying all the right things, or, doing the things that you always wanted, and then just like removing their energy. Because again, that's what it feels like. It feels like the connection gets deeper, and then like they start to prioritize other things or things that aren't good for them, and like kind of leave you hanging. And that whiplash is going to cause anybody a lot of pain and frustration. So you're definitely justified in the way that you feel. The other thing that I feel like you're really needing to know is that you are not asking for too much. And I said this at the beginning, but I feel like it's really needing to be reiterated. You're not asking for too much when you're asking to be chosen, to be committed to be loved and valued in the way that you deserve and desire. And I know that sometimes, like, especially if we do speak up about our needs or what it is that we desire, it can feel like we're pushing people away, or like people start to go, oh, wow, like that's a lot, or like I can't give you that, or whatever the case is. And that fear, of losing them might actually hold us back from doing that sometimes. But anything that is lost or anything that is pushed away because you're upfront and honest about what you need and what it is that you require in order to be happy in relationships, like that's not actually a loss. It's alignment with what is really meant for you and what is really capable of being what it is that you deserve. But I know that it's a lot more complicated than that. So let's dive in a little bit deeper. Let's look at this person's energy toward Libra. Person's energy toward Libra, please. You and this person are on a merry-go-round. Here's the problem. Yeah, there's the 5 of Swords. Okay. The 7 of Pentacles in reverse. So it's important to note, first and foremost, that this person does value what you bring to the table. And I think that is, the extent to which somebody values us is never usually really reflected in their actions. There it is. It's more so reflected and their, how do I say this? Like, somebody can value you and love you and want to be with you, but have absolutely no idea how to be what you need, is what I'm trying to get at. And with this person, so full Page of Wands, 5 of Swords, 7 of Pentacles in reverse, and the Devil. To me, and I said, when I pulled the Devil, I was like, oh, there it is. Because it feels like this person is pretty, and I don't use this word lightly, but toxic. A little bit unhealthy in their behavior, in their decision making, especially in their relationships. And it feels like it's like they value who you are and what you bring to the table. And I feel like they don't want to lose you, but they also aren't really taking accountability for what would be needed from them in order to keep you. It's almost like they want you to lower your standards for them, for what it is that you desire, especially when it comes to commitment. And I feel like that is coming from this. I mean, this feels like a fear of commitment to me. It also feels like somebody who honestly just has a little bit of like growing up to do, like maybe isn't ready to fully grow up. Like even if they're older, like a lot of people, a lot of people just age. Doesn't mean they don't grow. It doesn't mean they're getting wiser. They're just getting older. And I feel like this person, it's like they have a lot of kind of growing up to do before they're going to be able to be what it is that you need them to be. And I'm sure they show you glimpses of it sometimes. Like I feel like they, and that's probably where you see that potential is you're like, oh my gosh, but if you could just be this way all the time, then things would be so good. But then it's like, as things get deeper, this person starts to push this away and they maybe get defensive or they sabotage in some way or, are prioritizing other things. It feels a little bit selfish is what it feels like. I don't think they're a bad person. I don't necessarily feel like they're intentionally hurting you, but it's like they want a new beginning in this connection, but they don't want to have to change. It's like they want to be exactly who they are and basically just be like, you need to be okay with that. But that's where their issue arises, is you shouldn't just be okay with that, because with what this person is willing to provide, or even like what they're capable of providing right now, it doesn't meet what it is that you desire and ultimately what it is that you deserve. And I think that sometimes we have to open our heart and mind to accepting that people are who they show us they are, and people's actions, kind of tell us where they're at, like consciously, and like where their capacity lies. It doesn't mean that it's a reflection of our value or even how much they value us. I have even experienced in my life people who I know love me and have cared about me, but like didn't know how to be what I needed, or weren't willing or capable of being what I needed them to be. And therefore, I had to create distance in those connections, because me pouring myself into people who, weren't capable or willing to do the same, like that's not fair, right? So sometimes we have to learn that other people are kind of where they're at right now, and that doesn't mean that they can't grow, and that doesn't mean that they can't evolve, and that doesn't mean that things can't get better, but we should not put ourselves in a position of waiting for that to happen, because what that does is that puts the power of our ability to be loved and happy and abundant and to experience all the things that we desire in the hands of somebody else. And to me, like from what I can see right now, it kind of seems like this person isn't taking a whole lot of accountability. It kind of seems like they're not willing to kind of see the error of their ways, but it's like from the outside looking, and it's so obvious because they have the karmic, they have the devil. So like whatever it is that they're doing, it's like it's obvious that it's not good for them, or that they're making decisions that don't really align with what's good for them. But that's also where, the growing up kind of piece comes in, is, I've learned that, the wiser that somebody gets, the more self-reflection that they do, the more that they grow, the more that they start making better decisions, not just for themselves, but for the people around them. And a lot of times when you're dealing with someone who makes kind of more selfish decisions, or decisions that are harmful not just to others, but to themselves as well, you're usually dealing with someone who has a lot of growing to do. And so it does definitely feel like this person is not at the place that like you need them to be. And I feel like that's what's hard, is that there's potential there. But one of the things we have to remember about potential, especially when we're seeing it in somebody else, is it's a reflection of the potential we see in ourselves. When we see the good in somebody else, it's a reflection of the good that we see in ourselves. All of our relationships with other people are a direct reflection of our relationship with ourselves. And the good, like I said, the good that we see in others, the potential we see in others, it's a reflection of what we see in ourselves. And the more that we remember that the potential of somebody is somebody who does not yet exist, and what does exist is who somebody shows us they are through their actions. We have to learn to believe people, right? We have to learn to take people where they're at, to let people be who they are and where they're at, and make the best decision for us at this time based on what somebody is showing us right now. And I think that that's where relationships get a little bit more challenging, is we do tend to set ourselves up for heartbreak when we have this expectation or desire of somebody changing, and especially when we believe that whether or not they change is a direct reflection of whether or not we're valuable enough for them to change. And we often do this thing where it's like, no, let me show you that I'm deserving of being committed to. Let me show you that I'm deserving of, your effort, your time, your energy, your attention. But you already are deserving of that. And somebody not giving that to you, or somebody not being what you need, is not a reflection of you not being deserving of that, or even a reflection of maybe even how they feel about it. It's just a reflection of what they're capable of, their level of consciousness that they're at, the level of self-reflection that they've done, the level of growth that they've experienced, and all of those things. And this is why I started this reading talking about individual journeys, is because the more that we try to combine the journey, and the more that we say that what this person does is a reflection of me, then the more that we're going to take other people's behavior very, very personally. The more that we separate the journey and we recognize that, no matter the nature of a relationship, twin flame, soulmate, anybody that you meet, you are on two separate journeys. And sure, those journeys can have similarities, and they can coincide, and they can, again, be the catalyst for certain things within the individuals. If someone is not awake, or if somebody is not willing to do the work, you might be a catalyst for them, but they might not choose consciously to actually pursue the path of growth or to pursue the path of healing. There's nothing we can do about that. What that doesn't mean is that you can't have the love that you deserve and desire, because you still absolutely can. And I feel like that's where, it's almost like Spirit is asking you to get off the merry-go-round with this person and to find another path or another way through this, or like looking at this with a different perspective, so that you don't continue to end up in the same place with this person, because at this point it's just not fair to you. And I think that it's pushing you to see that you deserve a whole lot more, which is hard. Again, when we love and care about someone, of course we're going to see the good in them. Of course we're going to see their potential. Like that's, I think this world would be a better place if more people looked at other people through the lens of love and empathy and understanding. But, toxic empathy is a thing. We can be so empathetic toward other people's journeys that we forget to be empathetic toward our own journeys, our own needs, and our own desires. But in between this connection, there are regrets with unlocked potential. Unlocked potentials. We're going to dive in deeper to the deeper purpose of this connection and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self in the extended. Any information for that is in the description box below. Thank you so much, Libra, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Libra.